dreaming state of the human mind is a fascinating experience. When in this state, you can do and see things that might be thought insane or even completely impossible, with no more thought than you might give to the act of blinking. And things that you have interacted with in the waking state can be reflected in your dreams and interacted with. You might dream of what you have done during the day, or of some scene from your past, or even of something you will do. And sometimes the dreams have no discernible connection to anything, but usually they have some basis of origin in reality. So when you find yourself, let us say, dreaming of the demon that has repeatedly visited you when you are in a half-waking state, one that paralyzes you and feeds upon your fear, and then sits with you and talks, or goes places with you. There is a reason for that dream. In this dream, you see the demon as it regularly appears to you. The long, hairless, prehensile tail, the child-sized body covered in the shaggy, unwholesome-looking fur, the 6 limbs, also fur-clad, angular, flexible, each ending in a tiny hand with long, needle-sharp claws at the end of each finger. The long, undulating, flexible neck, and the head with the weird blending of rodent and simian and human features, and the gigantic eyes with their reflective surface and their slightly luminous glow, and their utterly dead, staring expression. Dreams very often reflect reality, but sometimes the dream is the reality. I am here with you in your dream, sleeping one. Yes, you are dreaming, and I am here. You are not dreaming of me. I have entered into your dream. I have visited you multiple times in the half-waking state, sleeping one, and you have been most hospitable and gracious, at least as far as the paralysis that I induce will allow. I would like to return the favor. On this night, when the veils between worlds are at their thinnest, and interesting things are happening across many realms. On this night, sleeping one, I invite you to join me in your dream. Join me in my own personal place in the Chaos Realms, as an observer and guest at a small gathering. Just myself and 2 other demons, one of whom is known to you already, for an interlude of conversation and storytelling. A small gathering of friends. As a dreaming mortal in the Chaos Realms, You will, of course, be able to interact in only a limited fashion, but you will be able to see and hear what goes on around you, and my other guests will be able to sense that you are visiting. They will not mind. And of course, you will be perfectly safe there, under my protection, and in my personal realm. A protected and honored guest. Do you accept this invitation, Sleeping One? You are too kind. I will lead you then through the fog of dreams toward the places of chaos. Follow closely. The dreamscape around you is turning quickly to mist. All around you, above and below. Just mist, no more. We are crossing the space that divides dreams from chaos. It all looks like this from a distance. Details only resolve once one starts to look for them. The best way to find a place in the Chaos Realms is to go there, and to learn where it is, and then do it again. It gets easier to find the more often you go there. And the place we are going to, my own home, should be appearing ahead of us soon. You may notice, Sleeping One, that in this place I am growing in size as we approach my realm. Before, you have seen in the half-waking paralyzed state as much as I truly am, but the size I assume when visiting you is for ease and convenience. Here, in my own realm, among those places and things most familiar to me, I am as I truly am. My body is nearly the same size as your own, and my limbs are now much longer. Here, I am indeed somewhat of a giant compared to what you have previously seen of me. In those times I have visited you, I could easily climb onto your body and ride while clinging to your back. Here, were I to permit it, you could easily ride upon mine. Ah, see, the mists slowly thin out ahead of us. There is no moon, but the light brightens all around. The mist clears, retreating to become the horizon, as the light brightens even more. Now it is like being in immortal realms a few hours after full moonrise, but without the harsh glare of the moon itself. No stars to see here either. And there, floating in the near distance, my home. See, Sleeping One, how it looks as though a small mountain has been torn from the earth and placed here, floating by itself, unsupported. Trees grow upon its sides, and water flows in trickles and streams over rock edges and ravines and small valleys. Vines grow in great profusion closer. We move toward the middle height of the mountain, where you can see a flatter portion of land. A broad valley with the hillsides terraced and irrigated. My own garden, where I grow many interesting plants and vines, and especially the sweet yams that are one of my favorite snacks. And in the center of all the gardens, and carved from a protrusion of the very mountain itself, you will see what looks like a small temple, partly in ruins. The squalor and dilapidation are intentional. I like the look of ancient ruins, grown over with vines and trailing plants. The fallen pillars make for convenient seats, and the vegetation softens the sharp outlines of the whole structure. And there, in the middle of the courtyard, surrounded by pillars and open to the sky, my friends have already kindled a small fire. We will go to it now. Seat yourself on a convenient section of pillar, sleeping one, and I will make note of your presence to the others. I return, my friends, to our quiet nighttime gathering on this most auspicious night. And I bring with me a friend, a dreaming mortal, who has been a frequent host to me in the mortal realms. They are here to observe our gathering at my personal invitation. You are already slightly familiar, sleeping one, with the six-winged maven, the grasping hare, the arbiter demon, and enforcer of contracts, who is called Vekra.
Welcome to our little shindig, friend. I can't see you directly, but I can more or less make out where you are. Make yourself comfortable.
And our other friend, whom you are unfamiliar with, sleeping one. This is Cicada, a plague lord of high standing. Their form is sometimes difficult to make out, even in good lighting, but they have a generally humanoid shape and insectile limbs and features, and many, many eyes.
Many warm greetings to a friend of our kind host. Come, friend, and join us.
I will now seat myself upon this fallen statue. It was meant to represent some legendary creature or other, but I cannot now remember what it was called. If you would be so good, Vekra, as to pass me some of the sweet yams you have been toasting. And I see that Cicada has been investigating the trays of the cheesecake food that I brought back from the mortal realms on my last visit there.
This food is so strange, yet oddly pleasant to taste. It satisfies me.
It is one of the best things about excursions to the mortal realms, at least as far as I am concerned. Others may say what they like, but the cheesecake food is an excellent treat indeed.
I'll be finished with another batch of these roasted yams of yours, my good host. When they're done, I'll pass some your way. Cicada, you want some?
The roasted yam roots are much more to my own taste. I accept with thanks.
And while we are passing our snacks around, I will explain, for the benefit of the sleeping one, our observing guest, what are our plans for this night. We have a tradition of each telling some story or tale that might be considered by mortals to be fitting on such a night as this. Ghost stories, or spooky tales, or some such they are often called. We enjoy such storytelling opportunities.
One may paint with words a picture that is vivid and speaks to the mind.
That's certainly a poetic way of putting it. Or you might say we try to tell stories that may or may not be useful someday to scare the living daylights out of someone.
Fear and fright are good things, yes. Delicious indeed to those who have a taste for it. And speaking of taste, thou six-winged keeper of the roasted yams, Vegra, would you pass me a few of those flavorful things?
Sure thing. I'll pick out a few of the largest just for you. Catch!
Many thanks.
Cicada, you're up. One roasted sweet yam heading your way.
The heat from this fruit, along with the aroma, are both pleasant things.
Now that snacks have been gotten, I will begin the telling of stories. This story was told to me some years ago by a friend who was privy to the events. The exact location does not matter, only the event itself. On a dark and moonless night, during the hot part of the year, a group of friends decided to go for a swim at a nearby lake. The house where they were meeting was only a moderate walking distance from the lake where they proposed to have their swimming adventure. To reach the lake, they had only to walk along the road leading past their meeting place. This road takes a winding course through the forested hills of the area and then down to the lake itself, where the road descended into the water and ended. A few houses were to be seen on one side or another of the road, but it was largely a deserted route. The friends walked along the road, happily speaking and joking, until they came to a place where the road passed an abandoned and dilapidated old farmhouse. A place no one had visited in years upon years. One of the friends, more perceptive than his fellows, did not at all like the look of the place, and said as much. He guided his friends to the far side of the road from the farmhouse, while voicing his concerns. And once they were past the place, he told them what had made him uneasy. There was, he said, some sort of being inside the farmhouse. Not a physical thing, but not a ghost or a demon. It was something that could normally be found only in the places between places, and it had gotten trapped somehow in the farmhouse. And it was not happy about this. The friends continued onward, soon forgetting the incident, and arrived swimming there, making jokes as friends do at such times, about zombies and such in the lake, and man-eating crocodiles, and other such terrors involving swimming at night. Eventually, they decided to return to the place of their meeting, and they gathered their clothes and began their return. As before, when they came near to the abandoned farmhouse, the more perceptive friend again warned his companions toward the far side of the road. And as they passed the place, a few of the friends happened to look up at the windows of the second floor of the building. And there, high up in one of the windows, they saw a pair of glowing red eyes looking back down on them with barely concealed contempt and fury. The eyes were too high up in the window and too far apart to be from some human source or even a human shape. And suddenly, no one wanted to be near that place anymore. They hurried on past and reached their original meeting place in safety. But not one of them ever forgot that pair of smoldering red orbs in the farmhouse window. Some of them have gone back to the place recently, daring no more than to drive past the place, and they say that as time has gone on, the house has been collapsing in upon itself. It is now little more than a depression in the ground, with a few boards and bricks here and there. But the terrible thing which had been inside can no longer be felt.
We do not know much of the places between places and what lives in them.
Sounds a bit creepy, no lie. I'm glad I don't have to deal with such things. I much prefer my own line of work, dealing with the fine points of demonic law, with arbitration and contract breakers. In fact, that reminds me. I'll tell you a story of a job I did for the Arbiters Guild, involving someone who tried to bend some of the terms of their contract. So, you're all aware that people make contracts and deals and agreements with demons. Not all people, and not all demons. But contracts are a thing. Hell, demons even make contracts with each other. And there are whole organizations of demons devoted specifically to the creation, filing, and enforcing of such contracts. I work with one of them. The Arbiters Guild, Contract Enforcement. When someone who's signed a contract with a demon tries to break the contract, or back out of the terms of it, or pull some similar smooth-talking lawyer stuff that the contract doesn't seem to cover, and they do cover it. They always cover it. That's when someone like me gets called in. I'm one of the ones that gets sent to collect a soul that's overdue on forfeiture, or enforce a binding rule of a contract, or even just to bring someone in for a little meeting with the demon they signed the contract with, just to straighten out a few things. I'm very, very good at my job. So, one of our contract holders got wind that a client of theirs was trying to figure out some loophole in the contract. Trying to bend the terms and get something more out of the deal. Not a good idea when you deal with the sorts of demons I work for. Now, this person trying to gain their contract, they had been in their patron's good graces up to that point. Good client, lucrative returns, very important soul to be harvested at the end of the term. So the patron doesn't want me to kill the client off. Doesn't even want me to go rough them up any. They just want me to put the client through hell, scare the shit out of them, and convince them that the terms of the contract were absolutely unbendable. Simply put, I got sent to go lean on the client a bit, put him through the ringer. So I go to their place, and I watch. Find out their schedule, find out when they go to sleep, and then when they do sleep, and they start dreaming, I went into their dream after them. Human dreams are fun things to play with if you know what you're doing. And I had so much fun with this. I cooked up a dreamscape that was nothing but run down old buildings, burnt out houses and storefronts. A real apocalyptic nightmare. Streets and alleys that go in circles and lead nowhere. Locked doors, open pits, sinkholes, crashed cars, all the bells and whistles. A real sheet soaker of a dream. And I dropped this person right into the middle of it. I made sure they never saw me. It was nighttime in the dream, and I was always behind them. Always out of sight. But they could hear me. They knew I was coming for them. They knew they had to run. And run they did, like a rat in a maze. So I chase after them, and chase them down, and let them get away again. And then I do it all over, for what seemed like hours inside the dream. And then finally, I'd grab them from behind and finish them off. They die, the dream ends, they wake up, and they remember the dream. All day long. I did this to them for 6 nights, back to back. Wait for them to fall asleep, get into their dreams, drop them into the city maze, and then chase them through it for hours before bringing them down again. And each night, I let them get a little farther and last for a little bit longer. But at the end of it all, they'd still snuff it. Then, on the 7th night, I really let them have it. Chased them in and out of buildings, through tunnels, across abandoned parks, the whole works. Kept getting just close enough to touch them, and back off just enough so they could get away again. Hours and hours of this. And finally, I let them make it to the edge of the city, and see the sun start to rise. Something they'd never seen in this dream before. And while they're standing on the edge of this burnt-out husk of a city, staring at the first ray of hope and light they've ever seen here, that's when I whispered into their dreaming ears. You finally made it. You got away. You got out. Remember that. You won't have this dream again. Next time, I won't come for you when you're asleep.
Such a disturbance. The waking dreams of demons are a scary place.
Manipulating the dreams of a mortal can be one of the most complicated and yet most effective methods of ensuring a
mediocre soul.
By all means, regale us, my friend.
I breathe in, deeply, the gas to put me to sleep. It smells of metal. Down from 10 I go, backwards, counting, to remove the tonsils swollen. The swift appearance of the doctor, grin splitting. Look here, I do say. Tell young Tim a heart, new and beating, is for him, and auto for me. It's new and shining. That is all he says to me before darkness falls.
That is really fucked up, mate.
That has the feel of a powerful nightmare. All the more frightening because it sounds like it could be a real waking event.
Who is there to say that this thing did not happen in the way that I told?
Ouch.
An extremely creepy scenario indeed. Another helping of the cheesecake food is in order, I think. A short pause for us also. But for you, sleeping one, it is perhaps a fitting time for you to return to your own dreams. I will go with you and guide you outward into the mists of the chaos surrounding this home of mine. Into the mists of chaos, and thence to the mists of dream, and take leave of you as you return to your own dreaming.
Take it easy, chum. Don't sign anything.
We are met as friends. Go you forth into your dreams. Think you now on sleep.
Come with me now, sleeping one. See, we go forth from the place of the telling of stories, along the paved way leading down to the end of this valley. The flagstones here are broken and uneven, so do be careful of your step. And now we reach the end, where the path halts and the mountain ends. Do not be afraid. Be confident and step out into the void with me. We will walk on air, walking onward and outward toward the mists surrounding this entire place. The mists of the chaos begin to enfold us. We will pass quickly through them. Soon, we will be at the edge of dreams, where I will leave you to find your own way. You may have more dreams this night, but they will be of your own making and not of mine.